Landria on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Blooper. Okay, I get so excited sometimes I get tongue-tied. Bless your coffee and your tea or your water. Blessings, 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 blessings. I always bless the world peace because we're all one. So when you do that, you're blessing yourself abundance. Open up the gateways. And then you know what? I always say, you know what? I'm always here to get better, to raise my frequency, no matter what. Until you go into the rainbow body, and we'll have a video on that. We still are dense beings. We're still human beings. No matter how awakened you are, stuff's still going to show up. The Dalai Lama says he gets angry, he just doesn't do anything with it. So he experiences being a human. Hey, listen, I just saw, was it the Dalai Lama? Not the current one. Swore on video. He said the SH word. All right, we're going to get started. I have so many great subjects that you guys are asking me about. Fun. I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy having my mornings with you before I get started on my day. All right, so you guys know you can sign up. If you see that thing, it says Landria Inspiration. That's an email list. Like every few days, like almost like once a week or something, you'll get a video from me giving you like tips on, you know, how to raise your frequency. You'll also be the first to know about events and webinars. The first Saturday of November at 10 a.m. I'm going to do a live free webinar, and if you're signed up to my list, you will get to participate. All right? You can also go to landriaonka.com and see what's going on over there. As of this video, it's a mess, but you'll still get to see what's going on because we're changing. I've been asked quite a few times what my lipstick is. I do combine a couple, but hey, girls and guys, Rouge Coco, it's Chanel. Of course it is. And it's $4.28. It's called Legend. But I want to say something. The reason I'm bringing this up, it's a beautiful color. I did check to see if Chanel does animal testing, and they said no. But one of my subscribers said some of their stuff in China that they send over does. So I'm going to take this into Whole Foods and find a vegan, animal testing free to match this color. We have to be responsible. And that brings me into reality shifts. What's going to happen when I do that? I will shift into a new reality. There's another Landria that doesn't use anything that harms animals and becomes more conscious. That Landria is on a higher frequency. All right, so I look at everything around me and say, you know, how can I improve? How can I be better? Especially in this channel, if I say things that are misinterpreted or whatever, how can I communicate better? Because I know what I mean when I speak to you. But if there's somebody who may be, and you guys know, man, I'm like, you know, a Zen powerhouse, right? That's what people call me, the Zen powerhouse. You know, I don't beat around the bush. Not everybody can handle that, but that's okay. So sometimes I have to really listen and say, okay, you know, I want to be a better communicator. We all have new realities we can shift into. So if the Landria who's not listening to that continues on, there'll be a whole set, think about this, there'll be thousands of videos in a certain, you know, way of communication. And if I shift into a different reality, completely different videos will get shot, and I will speak a different way, and that is a completely different reality. When I die, all those videos that I would have made speaking a certain way will not exist. I shifted into a reality where completely different video. Says, now does this make sense? Me using the videos, that's your life. Think of your life as videos. So at the end of the day, if you made one decision to shift into a different reality, to act a certain way, to eat a certain way, to make changes in your life, a job change, a relationship change, you guys go to my landriaonka.net. You see what I do for a living. I'm an internet entrepreneur. How do you think I make all this money so I can sit here and talk to you all day? This is part of what I do. I'm making a difference on this planet, and I'm going to make all kinds of money so that I can travel and build those programs to make e-courses to change lives. That is not the world I was living in. I was an investment banker for 25 years. It was all about me making money. And I always was helping other people, but it didn't really feel like that. Because everything revolved around making money, and I was disconnected with that, and I had to make a decision in my life to make that change. And this is when you can take that intuition, that heart feeling that Greg Braden talks about, he's brilliant at it, that electromagnetic field that you're putting out is picking up on things. And when you feel something negative, yes, you're picking up on the collective, but at the same time, what is happening in your life that's telling you something has to change? That changes the reality shift. So I think a lot of us think of a reality shift as my pen story, when pen was missing for months. By the way, I'm a little bit like of a neat freak when it comes to stuff like that. I'm very organized. So I know I have my pens lined up. 2 computers, they can't roll. There's nowhere to roll anyways. You know, they have that little clip. They can't roll anyways. But I line them up between 2 computers. There's nowhere to go. That pen never left the house because I won't take the super expensive pens out of the house, because you know you always lose that. You never lose the cheap one, right? You lose the expensive one, or somebody goes, shit. So what I did is I lined it up, and one day it disappeared. I don't know why. I'm sure that I placed it somewhere. And I started looking for it. Months went by. I ripped my desk, that doesn't have a lot on it, apart numerous times. Went through every purse. It was gone. And I knew somewhere it was going to show up. I just knew it. So see, step number 1, I knew it. I was very confident in that. Why? Because it didn't leave the house. There's no way my little baby coo kitty was playing with my pen and it went down. You know, there was none of that going on. So if you know a certain thing about your reality, you have to be very clear about it. You become that new person. So the new person for me was, the pen is missing now. That pen will be back in my reality at some point. Very sure about it. Months go by. Every once in a while I would look for it. And then I sat down at my desk and said, doggone, I really like that pen. I would really love to have that pen back. It was my favorite pen. Within 2 hours, I think probably less, but within 2 hours, I was doing a few things. I came back to my desk, and it was sitting there lined up with the other pens. By the way, it's burgundy. Everything else is silver and white and whatever. It's burgundy. There's no way it was confused with any other pen. I stood there and stared at it and realized I had shifted into another reality. The reality that I knew existed and never questioned happened. I did it with my television movie. When I wrote my very first book and I published it, I got an agent. That was almost impossible to do because I was an investment banker. I'm not really in that industry. I had an agent. She took it to a producer. Within a few months, I got signed and they produced it. They usually option it and sit on it, right? I never questioned. Not only did I not question it would be a television movie, I saw in my mind my name on that television screen right in the beginning. And darned if that isn't exactly what happened. They put it really big. If you've ever seen the rooftop Christmas tree, right in the beginning, Landria, Onkka, based on the book by Landria. Onkka. I didn't write the screenplay, by the way. So, what is that? The reality shift happens when you're clear. The reality shift happens because you know, A, it exists. Fact. Every reality exists right now. Every reality. Every reality. Your focus on it is what brings it into the material world. That's that wave particle thing. The belief that you have behind it. So when scientists look at a wave, a situation, it turns into a particle, manifest into something different. The beliefs of the scientists affected the results. It wasn't just the observation, it's what they believed and thought, which varied the results. How could it vary? Like observation just changes it, right? No, the observation of the individual, the consciousness of you, determines the result. These are real experiments. Somebody gave me a link. It's on quantum physics. You know, I'll look it up. I'll share it. I'll put it down here. Somebody sent a really cool link on an article. It doesn't exist if you don't observe it, right? And I'll post that down here. Very cool article. And you can look up quantum physics. You'll probably glaze over and fall asleep. I love that stuff. That's the reality shift. Whatever you desire right now does exist. Now, I did a video on you got to cut your cords. If you've got resentment, anger, all this stuff, and then you're focused on something on a higher frequency, there's a disconnect. So there's some other things involved. When you are an open, like Lisa Kay, I always mention her because she's progressed in amazing ways. This woman's like taking it. Whenever she watches a video, she implements it. And then she writes me back and tells me these mind-blowing things that are happening to her. And she's shifting how she thinks. That, Lisa, is the reality shift. Lisa's the one that asked me to do this video. That's the reality shift. Lisa, you now shift into reality where your dog is healed. We're gonna do procrastination again. Lisa Kay, the new Lisa Kay, in the new reality, is now going after jobs that she thinks she doesn't even qualify for, but she's okay with it because she knows there's a reality wherein she gets that job. And she said if she doesn't, she's okay, and that's the releasing that allows it to shift in. If that pen never showed up, I was okay with it. When you stress about it, then you're not believing. You're stressing, that's the ego trying to control things. That's a negative lower frequency. I know this is starting to get a little complex. Just remember, when you absolutely know that every reality exists for you, you can shift into any one. When you have blocks or beliefs that tell you that you're not going to, then that's what you shift into. You're still shifting into a reality. It's just not the one that you want because you don't believe it. You're still living some life that says, I'm a victim, all this other stuff. I shift into realities all the time because I absolutely, beyond the shadow of a doubt, have no, let's say, blocks as to what I can and can't do or be. And when things don't work out as I would like, that desire I have is still in place because I know that it's going to shift me over into something else that makes that desire happen, usually on a higher level. And I'm okay with that. I release the control. And darned if something bigger and better doesn't show up. I just asked for something recently. You know me, I do major quick manifesting in certain things. Because it's sitting there available, boom, because I don't have blocks. If it's sitting there for you and you have a block, open up your telegrams. What is that? You got a stack of messages saying, forgiveness, let go of this, do that. And then you can go over to this reality because this reality you cannot be in this reality over here if you're still doing these other things, right? You have to be that person. For me, okay, let's say the videos. I have to be that person who talks differently if my videos are going to go down a different path. Completely different reality where my videos are completely different than how I talked over here. Your videos, your life, that movie that plays out will be completely different if you are that person. So you can't be the person over here talking this way and acting this way and reaching this audience. If you want to reach this audience, you have to shift over and talk differently and shoot different videos. And then you will get that reality if that's what you want. Right? So just remember, you have to embrace all of it. You cannot shift in a reality that is not in alignment with what you're doing, believing, thinking, acting. Lisa is completely acting, thinking, and believing differently. And when she gets stuck, we talk about that, and then she gets it again. And she implements it. She doesn't question it. Why? Because when I talk to her, when I share these messages, it's always no limits. I don't tell her there's a certain way to do things. There are no limits. Somebody looked strangely at her at a gas station. I said, what if he thought you were pretty? Or what if he picked up on your energy? Eckhart Tolle talked about this. He was in a restaurant. Somebody just kept staring at him and got very angry, by the way. And if you guys read A New Earth, this guy was screaming and yelling, and it was just horrible. And Eckhart was picking up on energy, and that man kept looking over at Eckhart, and he kept getting more furious. So sometimes the darkness acts up in the light. We're going to talk about that too. Yeah, we're going to talk about the shadow people. I've done a couple videos on this. I'm going to do another one. So be ready for that. When you are a beacon of light and love and peace, don't be affected by that, but know that it's going to battle. Sometimes those things will battle. Those things will rear their ugly head, and then you've got to be steadfast in your higher frequency. Bless them, because you're shifting into the reality where you're not affected by that anymore. So be okay. That's why I said sometimes things won't play out the way you think they will. But when you know you're shifting in that reality, it has to work its way out sometimes. Cut those cords, and then you can float away into that new reality. But you have to be that new person. You have to shoot those new videos. You have to speak a certain way. And then when you die, you are... think about this. I shoot completely different videos. My reality completely changes. Different people will comment. Different things will happen. My energy shifts. You can do that lower or higher. People can go into the conspiracy. What if I started shooting conspiracy theory videos? My reality would shift completely. You guys would all go away. Most of you. So does this make sense? That's a reality shift. So when I shifted into, I knew that pen was going to show up for months. I never questioned it. It showed up. So it's not always going to be some weird thing like that. You might actually find it under a table. It's good, and okay, so I'll give you an example. Little kitty Coo Bear, who died, if you guys saw my videos, you know that he got killed. I could not find his favorite marble for ages. And after that little cat died, that marble was sitting on the floor in a very open place. It was easy for me to find. And I had looked there, I can't tell you how many times, for that marble for little Coo Kitty. Well, we don't know what that is, right? Was it on my mind? I actually thought about the marble. I thought, God, whatever happened to that little Coo Kitty marble? I was picking up all his stuff. Maybe Coo was letting me know. Maybe Coo shifted that marble to let me know he's still here, right? It's amazing. So you may experience some weird stuff like that. I got sideswiped at an intersection. I could go on and on with these. I got sideswiped on an intersection by an SUV who plowed through the stop sign. The SUV did not stop. It actually pushed me to the other lane. I pulled off the street, and when I turned around, not only was the SUV gone, but the other car that was at the stop sign coming the other way was gone and never stopped, which is sort of weird. How I missed that car, I don't know. I got out, and I'm not kidding you. I swear to God, I actually called the police and made a report on this. You could see the skid marks of my car pushed into the second lane. There was no damage done to my car. It's as if it never happened. I don't know. That car was gone. The second car was gone. What is that? So strange things will happen, and you're like, okay, there's no explanation for it in the logical world. You may have shifted. You may be shifting into higher realities. Now, here's what you don't want to do. If you're shifting into lower ones, Water in my ear, I just took a shower. If you're shifting into lower ones, you know, what are you going to experience there? So I'm going to do a video after this about the dark beings, because you're not necessarily going on a lower frequency when negative things show up, okay? I don't want you to think that. You are on planet Earth and you are participating in one energy. So let's talk about that next. So reality shifts, strange stuff happening, and not necessarily. You are always shifting. So remember, when you shift, you have to be that person, think that person. You have to release the things in that life you don't want to shift into the new one. So many of you are thinking the same way, acting the same way, just sitting there meditating on a new thing, but you're not facilitating and becoming the new person that shifts into the reality you want. I just shifted into a new one. I opened it up. Something showed up that was pretty mind-blowing. That's going to take me to a completely different level that I couldn't have, fabricated. This will happen for you. You don't have to have all the details. All right? Letting go is huge. Being that new person. Never questioning. Have faith. Faith is not hope. Shifting into the reality is putting that focus on that new thing. Do my 3-second manifestation over and over and over again. The thought appears. Boom. You shift over. It shows up again. Boom. You shift over. You have to see that new reality in order for it to show up. And open yourself up to whatever the universe gives you, because it might be better. It usually is. Yes, just say yes, because the universe is always saying yes. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.